Lies. It's Coach Katie. I am here in Florida. Ground, believe it or not, I came down here because my in-laws are here and we thought it might be safer if we were with my in-laws. So here I am. It's not the worst place to be quarantined, that's for sure. But we wanted to check in with all of you because we miss you and we miss seeing you, and we think that it would be good if we could figure out a way to stay connected. So we're going to do a series of videos. Today's whole series is all about etiquette. So we're going to go through the golf course, and I'm on a hole right here. I have no idea what hole I'm on, but I know the name of the golf course is called Legacy, but I have no idea what hole it is. We'll find out later. Anyways, I want to go from place to place to place to place, and we're going to talk about the way that etiquette works at each location. So if you look around, we are on the tee box, and a lot of you guys have started going out on the golf course for the first time. You're starting to see the golf course for the first time. I know your golf life starts on the driving range, but remember, there is a whole great big game that we have to go play, and after you learn how to hit it. So welcome to the tee box. You're looking at it. As you can see, the grass is a little bit shorter. Right here would be the rough. I'm sorry I don't have golf shoes on, by the way. I didn't pack them when we left, and this was the only golf shirt I packed, which is an interesting one. Anyways, you see these little markers here. Those are called the tee markers. And we have to, even though the tee box is really big, we have to tee up our ball in between those tee markers. And come on over. We are only allowed to tee off 2 club lengths, 1, 2, behind the tee markers. Now, why you would tee off this far behind the tee markers, I have no idea. It makes no sense. But that is the rule. So if I were to tee up my ball, and if I were to tee up right here, which is just outside the space of that 2 club lengths, this would be a penalty. So remember that. Now again, why I would tee up this far behind the tee markers, I have no idea. That doesn't even make sense to me, but it is a rule and it's in our player book. So that's what that means when you see that. If you were to draw an imaginary square around there, this is the space that I'm allowed to tee up my ball in here, okay? Even though the tee box is huge. So even though this tee box is huge, this imaginary square is the only space that our ball can be in. Where our feet are doesn't matter. So come on over, and this will happen sometimes, like at our golf course at Week Wake. I'm trying to think of a tee box that you might do this on. Maybe on number 6, the long par 5, you might tee up your ball here, okay? And your feet might be outside of that box. And that's fine. The only thing that needs to be inside of this imaginary box is your ball, okay? So let's talk about the etiquette piece of all this. Where's my golf bag right now? Is it on the tee box? Let's check it. I guess kind of one of my legs is. But from an etiquette standpoint, when you come up to the tee box, let's say I'm playing with me, Sushi, my dog, Sam, my other dog, and Pat, my mother-in-law. Okay? So the 4 of us are going to walk up here, and we're all right-handed players. It would be a nice thing out of etiquette for all of us. While they're hitting, 3 of us are going to stand off of the tee box. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to go over into the bushes or anything, but you're just going to stand right here while somebody's teeing off. And we're not going to talk, we're not going to talk to each other, we're not going to be in our golf bags, we're not going to do anything like that. We're just going to kind of stay quiet so that they can get their shot completed. But we're going to put all of our golf bags on the right side, and we're all going to stand here. And the reason that we don't put our golf bags on the left side is, think about when you get down to make your swing, your head goes down, you don't really see anything over here, but you can see kind of behind you. So that's all in an effort to not have to see people moving around while you're hitting. Let's do a pop quiz. And I'm going to tee off from right here. How many of these golf balls are technically, legally teed up? Is it A, 1, B, 2, C, 3, or D, 4? Ready for the answer? It is B, 2 of them. So take another closer look with me. This ball, which is actually what most of us are going to be the most guilty of, is teed up about 2 inches in front of the markers. I might have been deceiving on the video, so maybe some of you said 3 of these balls were legal. But if you can see from right here, this ball is technically in front of the markers. Now, a nice etiquette thing to do, so if you see your opponent, somebody you're actually playing against and competing against, do this, the nice thing to do would be, hey, stop, don't tee off. You're ahead of the markers. Because if you let them tee off ahead of the markers, 2-stroke penalty. So it's a really, really nice thing to do to tell your opponent, hey, I think you're ahead of the markers. And all they would do is they'll pick up their ball and they'll move it back a little and they'll get behind the markers. If you're within the markers, doesn't matter. You just can't be in front of them. This ball, outside of our imaginary square. This ball is inside of our imaginary square. And this ball, even though my feet are outside, this ball is technically inside of that imaginary square. There you have it. T-ball. Hello. So we have a problem. We are now in the water hazard. And I hope that we don't get eaten by an alligator, and hopefully my camera person here will tell me if an alligator is crawling out of the pond and trying to eat me. I can only hope. So we are at a red hazard stake. You can see the pond. I teed off from over there. My ball flew all the way over here. And my ball, even though it's not in the water, I am technically in the hazard. Let's pretend though my ball had gone 2 more feet and it's in the water. It's not there, okay? We need to figure out some of the options of how to handle that, because I'm not going in there. Actually, let's pretend my ball's there and I'm afraid that an alligator is going to jump out and eat me. So I'm not going to go in there anymore. I'm too afraid. With red hazard stakes, this is an indirect hazard. This is also in our book. Indirect hazards means it's not really in our way. We must have hit a bad shot to get here, or a wayward shot to get here. But now we have options of how to get out of here, okay? In red hazard stakes, we have 4 options to do this. It's always going to be a 1-stroke penalty, but we have 4 options of the way that we want to handle this to proceed going forward. So they're a little confusing, but here they are. We can, 1, play the ball, okay? Maybe I'm not as afraid of alligators as I thought. I'm going to go in there and play it, and then I'm going to take off running. That's option 1. Let's go to option 2. Option 2 is the line of flight that my ball took to get here. I can go back from the point that it crossed from. Come on down. Let's say it crossed right here. I can go 2 club lengths straight out from the line that it took to get here. And with the new rule changes, you no longer drop like this, you drop like this. So you're going to mark your 2 club lengths. You now drop from your knee, which is kind of weird, but you do. And you drop from your knee, and my ball is back in play. So I am now playing. I took 1 to go into the water. 2 was my penalty shot, and now I'm going to be hitting 3. Okay? The next option, and this one happens quite a bit actually, and people forget about this option, but this option is from the point that my ball crossed the line, I can go as far back as I want in line with the pin. It's a little confusing, but if I'm able to look way down there, because I'm still a long ways away from the hole right now, if I look way down there, I can kind of see the pin. I don't know if you can see it in the video, I doubt it, but maybe. But I can go as far back. So you see this clump of trees right in front of me? Maybe I have a club And if I were just a little bit farther back, I'd be able to get my ball up and over that. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go all the way back there. I can go as far back as I want. All right, so the third option, you can go as far back as you want in line with the pin. Fourth option nobody ever uses, but it comes in handy every once in a while. The fourth option is, so if you look, this pond ends on the other side. If for some crazy reason I felt like I had a better shot from the other side of this pond, which in this case I don't, by the way, but if I did, I have the option to go to the other side of the pond and play from there. The best example of that one that I can give is Bill Haas in the 2013 or 14-ish Wells Fargo Championship. He was on the last hole. There's a little stream going along the greens here. He was about to drop and remembered that option and went to the other side of the stream to give himself more green to work with. That's about the only time I've ever actually seen it go into play, but it's good to know the rules so that as tough as the rules are, sometimes you can use them to your advantage. So let's talk about, in terms of judgment, I guess, if we were to tie into core value, you have those four options, and you really should weigh all four of them and think through all four of your options. The most common thing that everybody does when they go into a pond, they take their 2 club lengths, they drop their ball, and they're on their way. They don't properly use good judgment and make the consideration. Very often, when you get into one of these ponds, there'll be the grass will be really high and it'll be kind of stringy. If you go back far enough, you can very oftentimes find the fairway, so you can end up dropping your ball in the fairway. So don't forget about that option. That's the one that's overlooked. The option to go to the other side, while it's extremely uncommon, it's just a good one to know. So there you have it. Hello, my little First Tee family. So welcome. We are in a Fairway Bunker, this is called. And it's called a Fairway Bunker because it's nowhere near the green. And technically I think we're in the rough, so in a weird way they should probably call it a rough bunker, but it's not. We're in a fairway bunker. And sometimes when people get into bunkers or the sand or the beach or whatever it is that you're going to call it, they get a little nervous, they get a little stressed out when they're in the sand, and it can be intimidating if you don't know how to handle it. So there's really only 2 things. Let's pretend my ball is right there. There's really only 2 things that are a lot different when you're in a fairway bunker. 1, you're going to take 1 extra club. And 2, you're only going to swing about 80% of your swing. And the whole reason you're doing that is because you're trying not to slip. So if you're here and you're going to do your 100% swing and your foot slips out, that's the whole thing that you're trying to avoid. You'll still make contact, but it won't be solid contact. The ball will kind of come out chunky, you'll take too much sand, or the opposite, then and the ball will end up going way too far by accident. So let's hop in. The green is way far away at this point. I'm in the bunker, I just need to get out and get myself back into a good position. I'm playing by myself because I'm social distancing. And the other thing is there aren't any rakes in the bunker right now because they took them all out because they don't want people to spread germs by touching them. So there isn't a rake in here, which I would have shown you how to do that. But anyways, we're in here. I have to use my integrity. And even if I were playing with other people that could see me, I'm playing alone and I still have to play with my integrity. And what that means is when I'm in the bunker, I'm not allowed to touch the sand with my club head. I can touch it with my feet, I can kind of dig in with my feet a little bit, but I have to hover my club above the ball, about 2 inches above the ball, okay? So here I am. If by accident, and it's totally an accident, you never really end up doing it on purpose, if by accident I were to touch the sand, even that much, that's going to be a 2-stroke penalty, and it's on you to call it. You have to use your integrity to turn around and tell your friends that you're playing with, hey guys, I accidentally touched the sand. I didn't mean to, but I want to take my penalty for that, and that's on you. And even if you're playing alone, you would have to take the penalty as well. So playing with integrity is, if you can't play with integrity, the game just doesn't work. It won't work. So here we are. I'm going to dig in a little bit. Again, apologize for my flip-flops. Maybe tomorrow I'll wear tennis shoes. But here I am. I'm going to hover my club above, and I'm really going to try to dig in because I don't have golf shoes on. And I'm going to take kind of a modified swing. I have one extra club than what I would have normally wanted. It's pretty good. I was way over on the other side of the fairway, but I'm out, I'm safe, and now I'm going to be able to continue on with the hole. When you leave a bunker, look around and see what's the most common sense way to get out of the bunker. Because come and look at this over here. There's a greenskeeper, and at our golf course you've seen Tony driving around sometimes, or you've seen Pete driving around sometimes. It's their job to keep this bunker really nice. And if you see the one I'm in, it's not actually that nice. It has some water damage here. But when I leave, I would never want to put my foot right here because I don't want to damage the side of the bunker. The side of the bunker usually has a really clear cut where it starts from grass and then it goes to sand. So when I leave, I really want to be able to step up and out of the bunker. Now pretend I had a rake. We'll call this a rake for now. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to rake my way out of the bunker. Okay, so here I am. I'm raking my way out of the bunker. I'm trying to cover up my tracks as I exit. I'm going to step up and over that spot so I don't wreck that area that Mr. Tony and Mr. Pete keep so nice for us at Weequahic, okay? So that's the bunker. Sam and I have gotten ourselves in a little bit of trouble here. As we all know, what do the white stakes mean? They're on every golf course that you'll ever play, ever, and they'll only ever be this color. Anybody have a good guess? Probably already know, out of bounds. So I teed off from back over there. I hit 3 balls, and all 3 of them, coincidentally, landed right here. One right there, the white one, and then there's another one just to the left of that one. So I have 3 shots here, and I have a real situation. I teed off from back there. I'm trying to go that way, even though this giant clump of trees are in front of me. So I'm in a bit of a pickle here. So let's talk about what my options are here with out of bounds. Unlike the red stakes, which were over there by the pond when we were over there earlier, I have a real responsibility to play by the rules, and white stakes, you cannot move them. So check out this pink ball right here. This pink ball is technically in bounds. This pink ball is in play. I can play it right now. It's in bounds. But the bad news, I cannot move those white stakes. So what I'm going to have to end up doing right now, and I have no other option but this, is to take an unplayable lie so that I can get myself away from that white stake. We'll talk about unplayable lies later, but this is a real bummer to hit this shot and then to be that close to the white stake. I can't move it, and sometimes it's going to be a fence, it'll be all kinds of different things. So this one's in trouble. Come on over here and go right down the line for me, because this is a real pickle. You see this white stake. You see in the distance that white stake. Anything, if we were to draw an imaginary line at the thickness of the pole, and this side of the pole starts out of bounds. This side of the pole is in bounds. This is in bounds. Anything on the white stripe is in bounds. This is technically in bounds if my ball were halfway in and halfway out. The only way my ball is out of bounds is if it's completely, the entire ball, on the outside of the golf course side of it, okay? So now we have to use some serious responsibility because this is a big bummer. Go right down the line and take a look. I think, and it's my job to determine this, no one else's, but I think that this ball is in play. Because if I were to draw an imaginary line, Sam might help me, from right there all the way through to that one right there, I do think, even though it's kind of on this side of that line, that I'm in bounds. If I look at this one, which is just, I mean, I'm talking maybe 6 inches to the left of this ball is out of bounds. What do we do when we hit one out of bounds? What are our options? Can I just kick it back in? Can I do my 2 club lengths and get it back in play? What are my options when my ball's out of bounds? This ball, I can hit it. I can just hit it and be on my way. I got really, really lucky. This ball, I'm out. So what are my options? You only have one option with out of bounds, and that is to pick up your ball, literally pick it up, and you have to go back to where you were. And in my case, I hit it from the tee box. I'm gonna re-tee, and I'll be hitting 3. Okay, so I teed off, my ball went out of bounds. I'm gonna go back, put it back on the tee, and that second swing will be my 3rd stroke for that hole. So hitting it out of bounds is a real bummer because you lose all that distance that you got to advance your ball all this way. That's why out of bounds is actually worse than hitting it in the water. So when you hit it in the water, you get to just pull your ball out right where it was, so you got to gain all that distance. And out of bounds, it's just the opposite. You have to take your ball back to where you were. So it's kind of a double penalty in a weird way. So I'm already back on the tee box, and I'll be starting by 3. So it's out of bounds is no fun. Coach Strick loves talking about out of bounds. Maybe he'll talk more about it later with us. He always shows up with that white stake, the yellow stake, and the red stake. Well, here it is, live in color with the help of Sammy Tucker, Madame. All right, that's it. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, First Tee family. Happy quarantining. Hope you had a good weekend. I hope you went a lot of places like your living room and your TV room and your kitchen, maybe possibly even in your backyard, as long as you have enough space. Let's pick up where we left off with the Unplayable Lie. So remember yesterday, I hit my ball here. This was the OB stake. As we learned yesterday, you're not allowed to move the OB stake. So now we have to figure out how to do an unplayable lie before that guy comes who is spraying for bugs in the bushes. Okay, so here's my ball. With unplayable lies, you have a couple options. 3, actually. First option is you can go, you have to mark it with something. There we go. You get to have 2 club lengths in any direction with the longest club in your bag. So in my case, the longest club in my bag is this giant driver right here. And I can go 2 club lengths in any direction. 1, 2. And you can kind of feel what 2 club lengths would be. So look at the problem. I teed off from back there. My ball ended up right there. This option doesn't look that great because even though I can now hit it, so I'd have to do my drop. Okay, if this was my option, I'm still in a big pickle here. This doesn't really feel like that great of an option. The second option that you can do, because I'm going to rule that one out right off the bat. The second option that you can do is similar to a red stake. You can go as far back in line with the pin as you want, which, turn around and look, it's just a bunch of bushes and a... So I don't really like that option either. And I know that the pin is way up there. This is a par 5. It's a dog leg right, which just means it goes straight and curves off to the right. Dog legs in our book, by the way. But this option I don't really like either because all I'm going to do is back up into these bushes. The third option is you can replay your shot. So in our case right now, I would head back to the tee box, I would re-tee my ball, and I would be hitting 3. so this is, in a lot of ways, I'm almost gonna have to treat this as out of bounds. It's a bummer. But 1, to get here, 2 is gonna be my penalty, and then I'm gonna be back on the tee box hitting 3. So that, folks, is an unplayable lie. You're gonna use it in a lot of different cases. Now, I was hoping to find a burrowing animal hole, but I didn't find one yet. When I do, I'll do a video about that, because that's like the best rule in golf if you know about the burrowing animal hole. It's so unused, but it's a real one and it's a great one to know. So, unplayable lie, you just got it. Hello, so check it out, we actually hit one in the fairway. I am the pink ball, my imaginary friend is over there, the white ball. And I'm not playing with anyone, even though you see people playing in the background. Florida hasn't quite got the message yet about social distancing. Although everybody is on their own golf cart, which that makes me feel better. But anyways, here I am. I'm the pink ball. My imaginary friend over there is the white ball. And I have to think about pace of play. And we all know who goes first in this situation, right? That ball back there goes first. You can clearly see it's behind me. But what should I be doing in terms of pace of play and in terms of being courteous to my playing partners right now while my imaginary friend is hitting his ball? Let's call it a her. She's hitting her ball right now, right? So what I can be doing during this time is I really quietly, and I'm gonna get ready. So the minute my playing partner's ball goes in the air, I should be ready to start with my swing. Come on over. Whichever way you want, come on over. So let's pretend my playing partner over there is getting ready. She's hitting. I shouldn't just stand here. I should start getting a plan together myself. So quietly, and on really windy days, you can do this as loud as you want because they can't hear you anyways. But this is all in an effort to be courteous to my playing partner. I don't want to bother them because it's technically their turn, but this is also in an effort of pace of play. And we need to understand that pace of play is a real thing. And I would rather play with a bad player than a slow player. Everybody thinks that. So if you're a slow player, you are less desirable to play with than a really bad golfer. My mom, I love her, but she shoots a lot more than I do. She shoots about double than I do. I love playing golf with her because she's so fast, she knows exactly where to go, and she knows exactly when it's her turn to hit. So that's a big deal, pace of play. So right now, my playing partner is kind of getting ready. They're taking their practice swings. Here's what I'm doing. I'm over here and I'm gonna start looking at where do I want to hit this. I want to hit this about, I don't know, 150 yards or so. So I'm gonna get out my 150-yard club. And then I'm gonna look up there and I'm gonna see there's actually water up there. So remember, my playing partner's doing her thing, so I'm kind of trying to be quiet while I'm doing this. So now I'm gonna just kind of get ready and start to feel what I'm gonna do on my shot. Oh, my playing partner's ball's now in the air. It's officially my turn. So I'm gonna get up here and now I am just instantly ready to play, okay? So now it took us, so pretend I hit that because I'm not gonna go up there and get it because there are people playing in front of us, but pretend I hit that. So now we just hit 2 shots in the time that it normally takes people to hit 1. So that's how we can increase our pace of play, and you need to keep that in mind at all times. So remember, it wasn't my turn to hit, but the second it was my turn to hit, boom, I can go because I did all my pre-homework, I did all my lining up, I took my practice swing, I figured out my pre-shot routine beforehand, all while being kind of quiet. My playing partner's right-handed, so they had their back to me the whole time, they didn't really get to see me. So this is the courteous way to play with a pace of play in mind. Hello, first teers. We are at the chipping green here at PGA National. What is this called? PGA National. And in terms of etiquette, when you're chipping, there isn't really a lot of etiquette to have to worry about. But in terms of a core value, you can definitely kind of think about confidence. I know a lot of people think about confidence when they get into the bunker, but confidence is actually something you really need to think about when you're chipping more than when you're in the bunker. I think of perseverance when I'm in the bunker. I think of confidence when I'm chipping. So chipping, come on over for my wonderful camera person here. There's a very distinct setup when you chip, and hopefully you've all started to learn this a little bit. At Week Wake we don't have a ton of areas to chip at, so it is kind of hard to learn how to chip before you get out there and see the real thing. So knowing the form, that's half the battle. So your ball and your back foot, if you're nice and head on with me, your ball and your back foot will be lined up together in a straight line. Your front foot will be dropped back about this much. And by the way, we're just trying to chip it like maybe 30 feet right now. This isn't a long shot. Our ball's really not going to go that much in the air. So our ball and our back foot are in line, and our front foot will be dropped back, not a lot, but maybe the length of your club head. The width between your feet will be roughly a club head's width, okay? Your weight, I want you, let's say you weigh 100 pounds, I want 99 pounds on this foot, okay? So 99% of your weight, maybe 98 here. Your hands will be always off of your lead leg, and you kind of use a putting stroke. Is really the only stroke you use. The biggest thing everybody does wrong when they chip is they hit it way too hard, because we've been spending our whole lives trying to hit the ball as far as we can, and then we get up there to chip and we end up hitting it way too hard. So this is a finesse shot. This is a shot that takes a lot of confidence. The grass, you can see, is really, really thin, so you're not going to be able to get your club head under the ball as easily. At Week Wake, our grass isn't like this. Our grass is a little longer, but as you get better and better and you go to more difficult golf courses, the grass gets shorter and shorter. So you really have to clip it right off the top of the grass, like that, okay? I'm aiming at that black box out there. There's no holes in the green, but just watch. I'm gonna reset here, 99 pounds on this foot. My hands are forward, and I don't ever break down my wrists. They always are gonna stay pretty much just like they are. So if you can watch my wrists, they always just kind of stay just like that. I never let the club head go in front. I never let the club head go in front of my hands. So don't try to help the ball up. If you try to help the ball up, your ball will end up doing that terrible shot that it like rockets across the green. We all know that shot. You want to see one? This is something people do, and that's what happens. And that's why that happens, is because you let your club head go out in front of your hands. So, one more. I have a sand wedge in my hand, by the way. Hands forward. It's just kind of a putting stroke. Okay, so let's switch clubs. That was a sand wedge. You have a lot of options here in terms of which club you want to use, but this one's a 7-iron. So to have a 7-iron for this little shot, all that 7-iron is going to do is kind of skip over the top of this rough right here. So let's say it was really a crummy lie right here. Your 7-iron will just kind of skip up and over it. Same exact setup, and you see how it just kind of dances over the top of all that. Watch one more. This is called a bump and run. It is a really, 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 really easy shot once you learn how to hit it. So you're here, tiny, and you see how it just kind of bounces through all that? And that's why you would use that bump and run for this shot. This was my dad's favorite shot. It's called a Texas sand wedge. That's what it's called. Because it's so windy in Texas, they don't like to let their ball go too high there. So tiny. That's it. So you also have another option. You can putt this if you want. We're close enough to the green right now where you have options of which one you're the most confident with. So I'd say I'm probably 10 or 12 feet off the green right now. And I'm gonna putt it and just see what happens. Interesting, but I got to hit, I don't know, I hit probably 10 balls just now, and my putt ended up being the closest. fail, your worst putt will be better. Hang on. Your worst putt will be better than your worst chip. Your worst chip can be really, really bad. It can go shooting over the green. It can just go nowhere. But your worst putt, say you totally mishit your putter, will still be better than your worst chip. So from here, I might be inclined to chip from here, but if you have the confidence to chip. But if you're not there yet, the putter would definitely be the choice from right here. Hello. Check out this bunker. Can you even see over the top? I don't think you can. I know I can't from down here. Maybe you can. But this is a bunker, and from a core value standpoint, this is the one that requires perseverance. You need to get in here and stay in here until your ball gets out. So there's really 3 kind of goals that we can talk about when we're in a bunker. Number 1, you have to get the ball out of the bunker. You just have to do that. That has to be your main goal every time you get in. As you get better, number 2, you're gonna say, I wanna get my ball on the green. Okay, so out might just mean we just barely get out over the top of this thing. We're still stuck in the rough. That's out. Number 2, we're going to try to just get it on the green. And as you get better and better and better, number 3, not only are you going to try to get it close to on the green, you're going to try to get it close to the hole. Okay, so each one of those is kind of a progression in terms of how developed you're getting. So let's start with getting it out. Okay, this is just kind of bunker 101 basics right here. The only thing, and I tell all of you this, the only thing I care about when you're in the bunker is your follow through. I don't care about your backswing, I don't care about your stance. Now there's some details about that, but the only thing I care about is how big of a follow through that you can give me. I need the biggest, most dramatic, most over the top follow through of any swing you make. Anywhere on the golf course has to be in the bunker, okay? So just as an example, I'm here. I can't really see my target, but I'm gonna go for that pine tree that's in the distance. And you need to give this great big follow through. I'm all the way up here. Get one more, and I want you to just focus on my follow through. Don't worry too much where the ball goes because we can't see it anyways. But here we go. I'm here. Take this big, giant, dramatic follow through. And this is a tiny shot. So follow through is kind of that step 1. That ball will get out of the bunker, guaranteed, no matter what. I can't see over the top of this bunker, so this bunker's probably 6 feet deep or so. I hate to say it, I'm really hot. I know all of you are at home right now and it's cold and raining and maybe even snowing. Oh, I'm complaining, I'm too hot. I love it. Okay, so here's step 2, okay? So the big dramatic follow through, that's 1. Step 2, I want you to dig your feet in. You're not trying to go too deep, but you're trying to get stable. All you're trying to do is so that feel around. Can you move around? Can you spin out? You're trying not to move too much, okay? You're gonna have your knees, your hips, and your shoulders, and your feet all pointing really, really, really left of your target. You're gonna lay your club face open. Okay, I'm gonna move that. Or maybe I'm not. Yep, I am. Lay your club face wide open and then grip it. Okay, so it's not grip it and then go open. It's lay your club face open and then grip your normal grip. And you're going to swing along your feet line. So I'm gonna try to go way out here and way over here and cut under the ball. We play so much ping pong at Week Wake. Think about when we try to hit those cut shots to cause spin and you want your ball to go backwards. That's this shot, you're trying to spin it. Okay, there it is. Now, step 3 is, now we need the ball to get close. And again, we don't have a target, so you can't really see it very well from here. But let's pretend we did. The third thing that we need to add, and this is totally weird for those of us that are still in the beginning stage, but just kind of watch this video and apply it where you are in your own process right now. Dig those feet in, open that club face up, and take your hands back. So normally we're like this, hands are gonna be back. That's it, nothing's happening with my body, I'm just moving my hands back, okay? So here I am, I'm gonna go back. And I don't know if you can see it, but that causes the ball to go straight up in the air. So now all of a sudden, you're gonna get your ball out, you're gonna get it on the green, and it's gonna stop on the green right next to the hole. That's your bunker. So check it out. We were just walking to the putting green to go do a putting video. It might be a little windy, so you might not be able to hear me very well. But what we walked up upon is this. This is what I was talking about with that burrowing animal hole, okay? This is one of the funniest rules in golf. So as you can see, there's clearly something living in there. I don't want to hang out here long enough to find out what it is. Please God, don't let it be a snake because I'll have a heart attack. But anyways, let's pretend my ball is right here and I'm going that way, okay? So it's been confirmed by our neighbor Susan here that this is in fact an active turtle. Thank God, not a snake. This is an active turtle burrowing animal hole. So the hole has to be active in order for you to get relief from it. So I don't have a real club with me because we are walking to the putting green to do a putting video and just saw this on the way. But pretend I did, okay? I'm trying to go that way. This tree is so obviously in my way, okay? I can't really hit one. I get to take burrowing animal hole relief, which is 2 full club lengths, no nearer to the hole in any direction. So now I get to go 1 and 2. And I get to drop. Oops, that was a little bit too far away. Let's say I drop here. I am back in play, and guess what? That tree is no longer in my way. It's the greatest, dumbest rule in golf. The idea is you're getting away from potentially a dangerous situation, and that's why you get the free relief. In our case, we don't want to disturb a turtle that's probably nesting right now. There is a ton of honesty required in this because we've all seen just holes on the golf course, and then we've seen holes that clearly go down to some little animal's house, right? Or where they're nesting at. And so it takes a ton of honesty to be able to say, I am confident that that's a burrowing animal hole or not, okay? So you really have to use your core value of honesty on that one, because sometimes you'll be next to a hole and you just know in your heart that nothing lives down there. So you have to only take it when you know something's down there. I know a turtle isn't going to jump out and eat me, but the fact is I don't know what's down there, and it's an active hole. You can clearly see there's like a tail of something that just went down that hole, okay? So that's burrowing animal hole. I'm fired up we found one. Welcome to the putting green. We finally made it. It is me and my special guest, Sam. And I just want to show you some of the parts of the putting green. We always get a little crazy about the putting green, but maybe now you can see why. This is the putting green right here. This whole space. And this grass is so short. It's about, this long. It's as long as one of your fingernails. It is really, really delicate. They have to water it. They keep an eye on it at all times. So they're really expensive to maintain. And so that's why we always tell you we can't run on the green. We can't let our knees, if you're going to bend down, you can't let your knees make a dent in the green. You can't stand on your putter like this. Sometimes I get after you guys for doing that. But you want to try to keep the green as flat as you can. And if you look right here, come on over. Come on, Sam. You can see somebody here didn't replace their ball mark. And that's what happens when you don't replace your ball mark. That's probably not even a day old, if maybe 24 hours old. What that person should have done is, you see it here, you see how it's kind of clumped up here? You're just gonna take a tee and you're gonna smush it back, okay? And you're always gonna go from this side backwards. You're never ever gonna come in from this way. You'll ruin the roots that way. But you're gonna smush the grass back like that, and then we're gonna step on it. Sam's shadow's in the way, and it already is starting to look better, and it'll get better now because we helped it kind of go flat again. And that's something from an etiquette standpoint on the green. We always want to think about that. I always think that the golf gods are watching me. Ever since I've been a little kid, I've thought the golf gods are watching me. And I always think they know when I do that, so maybe they'll let me make a long putt once in a while too in exchange. I'm not kidding either, by the way. This is called the fringe. This grass right here, right off the green. It's just a little bit longer than the putting green. And there's a big difference between the fringe and the green. So if your ball's right there, okay, that ball's clearly on the fringe. I hope you can see it. You're not allowed to mark that ball to clean it. Whereas if your ball were just even right there, okay, that's such a small difference. That ball is clearly on the green, and that ball we're allowed to mark that one. We can now clean our ball. We can use this line here to line up our putt. Okay, so it's a big advantage to be on the green versus just off the green. But that's the difference right there. In terms of putting and who goes first, we'll cover that in the next video. How's that sound? But that's the green, that's a little tour of it. There's always Greenside Bunkers. They pretty much all look pretty similar like this in terms of size too when you're out on the golf course. So there it is. Now we're back on the putting green, and I just want to show you, and a lot of us don't quite understand how this works, but we all know the person that's the furthest away from the hole putts first, okay? So in this case, it's that white ball. Let's go putt that one. I'm gonna putt it. I'm gonna just kind of miss-hit it on purpose. I'm not trying to get all the way to the hole. Okay, so now, guess what? Whose turn is it now? I've already put a putt into place. Whose turn is it now? I don't hear anybody. Just kidding. It is still my turn, even though I'm closer to the hole. So, here we go. Now look what happens. Come on up with me. Because I'm a good playing competitor, and because I'm a nice person and I have good etiquette, this is not a rule, by the way. This is simply etiquette. Because I have good etiquette, and I don't want to stand in my playing partner's way, in this case it's Sam, the dog. Okay, so look at how my feet right now are directly in line with that pink ball. I no longer want to get up here to putt this ball. Instead, what I want to do is I'm going to mark my ball. And to mark your ball, you go right behind the ball, in line with the pin, and you just do this and set it down. And now I'm going to pick my ball up, and I'm going to wait for my playing competitor, Sam, to go next. One thing, look at my shadow. My shadow right now is right in the middle of my playing partner's ball, of Sam's line. So I'm going to back up and I'm going to get out of the way so that my shadow doesn't bother Sam when he putts. Come on, Sam, it's your turn. Okay, so it's your turn until you either get your ball into the hole or mark it. If your ball just sits there with no mark on it, it's technically still your turn. So you have to put a mark on it or get that thing in the hole. So now I've put a mark on it, and now we go back to that order that we were at before, where now it's Sam's turn. Sam, I'm gonna putt for you, okay? So now it's Sam's turn. Okay, here it goes. Too hard, Sam. Okay, so now it's still Sam's turn. You see that? Here's this. It's really close, but it is still Sam's turn. So Sam can go, even if, let's pretend Sam was a little bit closer. Let's pretend Sam was here. He went this far past the hole. This is such an easy, quick putt right here that because I'm not in anybody's way, I'm not standing in anyone's line, I can go ahead and I'm going to tap that thing in. Okay? So now Sam is in his pocket. Now it's my turn to putt. So Sam's got the ball, it's in his pocket. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna use, every ball has a little line on the side. You're gonna point that directly into the hole. And directly into the hole because this is a pretty straight putt. So I just replaced my ball. My ball's back in play. I'm going to get up there and I'm going to putt. Okay, so check out what they're doing in Florida, by the way. This is all in an effort so I don't have to touch the pin because we're also conscious about germs right now. So I think it works actually. It's a good plan now that we have to get more creative with the way we touch things right now. So there you have it. That's who goes the order on the putting green.